yes, Sir Hairless here. 'Tis the first video of December, hence me in my Christmas pudding hat. I hope it is not too distracting. And this month, until Christmas, will be exclusively Christmas songs. And we are starting off with none other than Voctave, Mary Did You Know. At the time of recording, I have done 2 other versions of Mary Did You Know. One was last year and the other one will be released later this month. So for now, make sure you check out the one that is available. That was Pentatonix's version, card up here. This one is a Patreon request, so thank you. I'll say what I've said in both of the other videos. It's a pensive song, so I would expect the arrangement to reflect this somehow. As you can see by the lyrics on the screen, it's also a very inquisitive song. There are many, many questions in it. Now, this version is a special one. Mark Lowry is singing with them. He wrote the lyrics to the song, so that's pretty cool. I have seen Voctave twice before. You can find both of those reactions either below or in the playlist linked up here. They have a very, very tight sound, and they definitely are on the choral side of a cappella rather than, say, modern pentatonics do. Their version of Somewhere, I absolutely loved it. One of the highest ratings actually that I've given to date on this channel. So I have high hopes for this one. Let's get straight into it.
Mary, did you know that your baby boy will one day walk on water? Mary, did you know your baby boy will save our sons and daughters? Did you know that your baby boy has come to make you new? And this child that you've delivered will soon deliver you. Mary, did you know that your baby boy will give sight to the blind man? Mary, did you know your baby boy will calm the storm with his hand? Did you know that your baby boy has walked where angels trod? And when you kiss your little baby, you have kissed the face of God. Oh, Mary, did you know? Mary, did you know? Mary, did you know? Did you know? The blind will see, the deaf will hear, the dead will live again. The lame will leap, the dumb will speak, the praises of the Lamb, the praises of the Lamb, Mary, did you know your baby boy is Lord of all creation? Mary, did you know that your baby boy will one day rule the nations? Did you know that your baby boy is heaven's perfect lamb? This sleeping child you're holding is the great I am.
Wow. 4 minutes? I even glanced at my recording timer. I thought we were maybe halfway. Wow, that's proof enough that the viewer or the listener, in this case me, is completely engrossed in the performance. You lose track of time, literally. Some really, really powerful moments in there. There was one point where, if you've seen some of my other videos by various artists, it just depends on the song or the performance. But I have said before, at least in my case, there's some music that just physically affects you. You have completely no mental or emotional control. Your body physically reacts to it. And that happened there. Was it the middle section? I don't know. I lost track of time. Time is no longer linear for me. At least not when I try and remember this performance. We'll go back through and I'll point it out, but the huge mass of sound is what I was thinking. When little melodic motifs were just passed between the members of different voice parts and it zoomed in on them, and when Mark had the really long sustained note belting at the top of his chest voice range, yeah, at that point my body was effectively shuddering, and I apologize for what my face may have looked like. That's going to be horrible editing, this one. I think I was probably like or something. Well, we'll go back through. I think what I'll do here is I'll just kind of listen to it, and when there's something I want to talk about, I will talk about it. I'll try and keep things fairly simple because this is one of those arrangements where the word constant is in my mind. There was a constant flow. There was not much in the way of changes in many regards. There weren't any key changes. There weren't significant textural changes, structural changes, time signature changes. You get my drift. And there were definitely constants in other regards, such as the harmony. Even though we didn't see significant changes, harmonic changes or key changes, we did see a lot of very subtle dissonances, and I'm talking harsh dissonances. If I played them on the piano or the online keyboard, which I'm sure I will do in a bit, they sound nasty. They're not really nice to listen to. So the skill required, not only in the performance and the tightness of the group sound, but in the arrangement of making these really, I'm going to use that word nasty just to bring home my point. These nasty dissonances sound nice. Quite remarkable. Quite remarkable. So the first thing, the very opening, I just like this kind of layered entry that we get. Low to high, dum dum dum. We get the best of both worlds. It's chordal because we arrive on a chord, sustained notes. That really contributes to this idea of constantness. Let me know if you know what I mean by constantness throughout the performance. For me, it was such a smooth performance. But we also get some rhythmic energy because obviously they don't have a beat in there. Also, sorry, these two, are they sisters? They have the same eyes. No, I just Googled it. The other one is Sarah Whittemore. In this video, I think they look really similar. If they were cast in a film, they could definitely play sisters, I think. The eyes are so similar. This, as I've learned since my introduction to Voctave, is Kate Lott, and she is utilized to great effect in this performance. I'll touch on that in a bit later on. There is our first suspension. If you've seen my videos before, you'll know very well what a suspension is by now. I'll play it again in this chord. Listen out for the part that goes. And naturally, at least for me, I kind of focus on suspensions when they happen. They are a harmonic tool where they cause tension, they cause suspense because the suspended note does not fit in with the chord and then it resolves by moving. But when it moves down, there's also another harmonic change in a lower part. That might actually be split between two parts. So all in all, really nice introduction. And I like how simple the video is. They've even removed color. So in terms of sensory overload, we don't even have more than two colors to focus on. It's black and white. The aesthetic is great. I like how they're all around Mark, and later on, they're all looking at him like he is the creator of this song. It's really nice, really nice. Like a kind of family feel. We get nice tempo rubato on Mark's entry, which literally means in robbed time. Rhythmic freedom instead of Mary, did you know?
Mary, did you know?
Slight reverb on the voice as well. We all know the melody, so we hear Mary and we're expecting it to go through, but he comes off. There's more suspense now, so we naturally have more focus on what happens next, the chord and what's in the chord.
Oh, your baby boy.
Dissonances everywhere, the top part. And then in the two parts underneath it, we have This is what I mean when I say the dissonances we get, they're not insignificant. They are as dissonant as you can possibly get, two notes right next to each other. And all the meanwhile, what's happening is we get his melody, which is changing. So against the sustained notes, the moving melody will be causing further dissonances and then resolution. And also the bass line is descending in a scale motion. Dum, 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 dum.
Did you know that your baby boy will one day walk on water?
And again, this idea of tempo rubato, it doesn't just come in Mark's melody, which is the focal point and the most obvious, but it comes in the other parts as well, which is really quite peculiar. You'd expect your chordal parts to be moving in a regimented fashion, not to be boring or anything, but just to kind of keep the structure in place. But if you really listen out, sometimes the bass will move a tiny bit earlier or a tiny bit later than you might expect. Same with all the other parts. You put it together and it's a solid sound, but also it seems quite uncertain in a way. When I think about this, it takes me back to what I was saying in the introduction about it being an inquisitive song, seeking answers more than giving them. The first significant textural change, thick sound, Voctave playing to their strength here with this huge, massive sound.
Did you know that your baby boy?
And again, the bass, the harmonic foundation, static parts. And it's the upper parts, your tenors, your altos, your sopranos, that have the more flowing parts, but they're moving in stepwise fashions. We don't have any big jumps, so it's kind of limited, but the sound overall very smooth. The first noticeable jump comes in the highest part, in the soprano.
Has come to make you new.
And it seamlessly leads onto one of the middle lines in the tenor. Mark's voice as well, I like it. Quite a gentle voice, but powerful as well, as we're going to see in a bit. Delicate is maybe a better word, and he's one of the song's creators, so who better than him to really know how to sing the song? I mean, every performance is subjective, isn't it? People sing it how they want to see it, how they think it should be sung, but as the man who wrote the lyrics and working closely with Buddy Green, who wrote the music, they are the ones who were involved in the discussions when it came about the song's creation. So even if you're not a fan of him singing this and prefer other versions, it's definitely worth your while listening to how he does it, and I just think it's very interesting as well.
Storm with his hand, did you know?
Now things are starting to move a bit more. The parts are becoming a bit more flowy, more movement, still no crazy jumps that are standing out, but definitely more movement that we can sense. And naturally, with the idea of growth, we have moving up in pitch. So this is where Kate Locke comes in. I think she's quite famous for this exact reason, the ease at which she can just sing incredibly, incredibly high. Just there, she went up to, which is a top E flat. That's only 2 notes. The top note of the famous Queen of the Night aria. And this is what I was alluding to earlier. We get many more moments where she sings incredibly high. I've received comments on my 2 previous Voctave videos saying that this high singing sounds a bit screechy, and to some people it's not very pleasing to their ears. I completely understand where they're coming from. It's not really a natural sound for people to be singing that high, and very few people can do it, especially with such control. Here, no doubt in part to the performance itself, but also to the touch-ups in post-production, they've reduced the sound. It's not overbearing at all. It's very, very subtle. So if you are one of those people who have said that you don't like it when she's singing that high, please let me know if you think that's also the case here, because I would bet that it's not. And in general, this is one of those arrangements, especially when you have these chordal sounds, where you could listen to this 10, 20, 30 times, try and focus on a different part, and because the blend is so good, it will keep you entertained for ages. I just listened to this bit and I was immediately drawn to the part on this note. And I was going to say it's caught my attention because it sustains through as everything else moves, but I'm just listening to it and I think it might go.
When you kiss your little baby.
Or if it does just stay on the same note, it completely comes off and then comes back in. It's these little things, the attention to detail. You have a part that just sings one note, but that's not enough. You have to put some variety into this one sustained note somehow that just contribute to performances and set them apart from other performances. This bit here, a nice handover between the parts, up, down, on the phrase, Mary, did you know?
Oh, Mary, did you know?
And then it culminates in this dissonance. What are we hearing? Well, we have a high note, the other main high note, an open fifth, and then we also have... And that leads into the bit I was talking about that took over my body, so I'm not going to talk about it. We'll just watch it once more, the 10 or 20 or 40. I mean, I don't know how long it was. I lost complete track of time. And look how happy Mark looks as well.
The blind will see, the deaf will hear, the dead will live again. The lame will leap, the dumb will speak, the praises of the Lamb, the praises of the Lamb,
Just a huge sound, isn't it? We're so, well, at least I am. I can't speak for you, but I'm so engaged at this point. A bit in shock, to be honest. What happens next?
Mary, did you know?
Ah, calm. Just Mark, a cappella solo, and then quiet chord. But even this chord, again, there's just dissonance slap right in the middle of it. But it's so subtle, it's almost difficult to even notice.
Did you know? Your babe.
Which only then really fits in on the next chord change. Then we got another significant textural change, and this was this unison line.
Mary, did you know?
And here I was thinking, okay, it's a way of getting variety in there, but considering what we've heard in Voctave just being about these huge chords, you know, multi-part, they have more members than the other a cappella groups we typically see. And I was kind of hoping that the whole section after this wouldn't just be a cappella, sorry, wouldn't just be unison, and I'm happy it wasn't.
Did you know that your baby boy will one day...
Growth now, the parts becoming a bit more jumpy in terms of their movement, not just so stepwise. Dynamic growth as well, going from quiet to louder. And now, after just hearing the next few seconds, I understand that unison decision much better. And then the last 20 seconds or so, the great I am.
Is the great
Same idea of Mark sustaining through as the chords around do change, and it's that highest part in Kate Lock with these lines da da dum da da dum that are simple in themselves, but I find are very significant when it comes to the emotional direction that the song's going in. Then the textures reduce, they go back to the dum idea, and they finish on an unresolved chord. We do naturally expect a resolution here, and that's probably why I was so surprised at the ending as well. And shout out again to Kate. Sorry, I'm not neglecting the other members in this one, but I do feel that her lines were a huge focal point of the song, of the arrangement, and the control is, well, it's just worthy of talking about, I think. But I don't think it's a bad thing. The purpose of this arrangement, I feel, is for them to just be a massive sound. No solo singers, it's a group dynamic with the purpose of supporting Mark, who has the melody of this famous song he created. Yeah, I don't have more to say. That was really powerful, particularly at the middle point, and just a great arrangement and great sound, perfect tuning, growth and reductions, whether it be texturally or dynamically, as a group as a whole. The third version of Mary Did You Know I've ever heard. As I said in the introduction, one of those versions is going to be coming later this month. Very nice. Well, thank you as always for watching. Please give the video a like and subscribe, and comment down below other songs by Voctave you'd like to see me do in the future. If you're craving more Christmas reactions, check out my Christmas playlist linked in the description below, and you can find all of my previous Christmas reactions. And make sure to turn on the notifications bell, because I will be uploading many Christmas reactions this December. If you enjoy these videos and want to support me, you can do so by donating me a hot chocolate at the Buy Me a Coffee linked below, or if you want to get access to exclusive content and join the community, you can do so by joining the Patreon linked on the screen. And I will see you next time.